What is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Today we're going to cover the iPhone 8 Plus. Should you buy this in 2020? Now, this phone launched in 2017, but I do want to mention that, the XR did launch, the 11 did launch, and the SE2 iPhone 9 is potentially on the way. But you should consider this if you're looking for a big iPhone on the low right now. So let's talk about if you should buy it in 2020. Guys, so the first thing I really wanted to cover here with the 8 Plus is how is the hardware in 2020? We're talking about an aluminum build around the edges of this phone, and also what I noticed is that the glass back doesn't feel quite as nice as the frosted back on the 11 Pro Max, the 11 Pro, but it's no different than, say, an iPhone 11 or anything like that. Coming around the front, the bezels though, pretty thick, flat display, no curves, but a functional piece of hardware, a big screen. As long as you're not like comparing it side by side with a newer iPhone, you won't notice much of a difference, but it's always going to be in the back of your mind. Oh, if there's a newer iPhone out with a more all-screen display, no gestures on this one. So I got to say the hardware, it still feels nice and premium, but it just feels a little bit dated at this point. If you're really into having the best looking phone, the sexiest phone, the best hardware, this might not be for you. But if you like the iPads with the home button, you like the older home button design, you'll absolutely still desire and love the iPhone 8 Plus. Okay guys, so let's talk about the display. An LCD 5.5-inch Retina display. Now we're talking about 400 or so PPI, pixels per inch, and it's a sharp display. As a matter of fact, it's sharper than the XR and the iPhone 11, but what it isn't is it's not the most vibrant. It's not an OLED display. But again, like I said with the iPad reference earlier, this kind of looks like a mini iPad. And one thing I really always liked about the 8 Plus is the ability to go into landscape mode here and use it like a little mini iPad. In addition, we still have 3D touch on this phone. So the display also is over 600 nits, so it's plenty bright, even brighter than phones like a Pixel, for example. Like I say, 3D touch, true tone, dark mode. It has what you need for a display here in 2019. But again, just look at it. Look at these big bezels. It just doesn't stick out. It doesn't stand out anymore. So really, if you can deal with LCD, you'll like the iPhone 8 Plus. If you can deal with bezels, you'll be fine. So let's talk about software with the iPhone 8 Plus. So one thing that's great about it is that it still has iOS 13.3. I actually just put that update on a few days ago on this phone, and the battery life has been pretty good so far, and it's been pretty smooth. As a matter of fact, I don't really notice too much of a difference in how smooth this feels versus, say, an iPhone 11, for example, besides not having the gestures and kind of swiping up for control center. Again, back to the feeling a little bit dated thing here with the 8 Plus. But one thing you will notice is that if we go into calendar, for example, if I turn this thing sideways, we do have ourselves kind of a split screen mode. And you get that with the Plus models. You also get it on the Max models. And if you have like messages open, you can turn it sideways and you'll see the side-by-side views. But no true way to multitask in terms of putting different windows side by side, split screen. This phone has a large enough screen to do it, but it never did do it, so that's a little bit disappointing. And I will say that 3D touch is still nice. It's very fast to punch in to different features. The iOS software right now, if you're buying the iPhone 8 Plus, is still a thumbs up. It's just the way that it operates. If you're used to the new ones or you've seen the new iPhones, it just doesn't feel quite up to the modern standards in terms of just the way it operates with gestures, because it doesn't have them. Other than that, if you can live with that, you'll be plenty happy with the software, and it's going to be updated for a couple years to come still. Okay, so the performance on the Apple iPhone 8 Plus. Apple A11 CPU, 3 gigabytes of RAM, and again with the latest software, we don't got to talk a lot about this. This is a beast performer. Take a look at some of my speed tests I've done with this phone. I'll leave them linked down below. But what I can say about it is, because the iPhone doesn't really require so much power because it's so efficient, the 8 Plus has been such a great performer. iPhones since this day, I don't really notice them getting too much faster, even though it says it on paper, A12, A13, the new phones. The 8 Plus is still very fast no matter what you're doing with this device, and it would fool you for thinking that you're using a modern day phone in terms of the performance. So no problems there. And having the home button, while I said it does feel a little bit dated, it's very reliable. You can pull it out of your pocket without even looking at Face ID because it doesn't exist on this phone. So yeah, very fast here, 8 Plus. thumbs up on the performance. If you're looking for strong performance, the 8 Plus still has that. Okay guys, so when it comes to storage with the Apple iPhone 8 Plus, this phone does come with 64 gigs of storage, but it can get up to 256 gigs depending on where you look. For me, 64 was enough, but I would recommend if you can find one with a little bit more storage, if you're gonna keep it a while, it would definitely be a wise choice, as you can do up to 4K 60p recording with this phone. So yeah, storage not really a con, as Apple is still launching phones to this day with 64 gigs. Like, what are they doing there? So yeah, the iPhone 8 Plus is not a problem in storage. It also has pretty high efficiency storage, meaning that the photos don't take up a ton of space. Neither does the video, honestly. Okay guys, so I'm actually taking a couple of photo samples here of the skyline, and I'm just going to show you them in a second here. But overall, I gotta say, this 12 megapixel iSight camera that does come for the iPhone 8 Plus does produce some pretty great results still here. Now, you're not gonna get the night sight mode here, which definitely makes this not the best for low light, but there are third-party camera solutions that will allow you to do things like night sight. In addition, the front-facing camera for the iPhone 8 Plus is pretty good. It also does a pretty good job at, skin tone, stuff like that. However, you will notice that it can overexpose backgrounds quite a bit, whereas a Smart HDR and the new and improved cameras with 4K 60p video recording on the front of 11 Pro Max have gotten a lot better with selfie quality and portrait, stuff like that, but you can still do most of that stuff here with 8 Plus. So if you're looking for a fantastic camera at a lower price point, I don't think this phone will disappoint. But if you're looking for one of the best on the market, I do think it will disappoint. So definitely weigh your expectations. Don't come into this phone thinking you're getting a Pixel or you're getting the latest iPhone, but also don't think you're getting a terrible camera, because you're getting a pretty phenomenal one here in the 8 Plus. As a matter of fact, there was a movie that was shot on the iPhone 8. I'll leave a link to that movie down below. Okay guys, so let's discuss the audio with the iPhone 8 Plus. We do have a speaker at the bottom, a speaker at the top, so it's stereo speaker setup. Dongle you will need with this one if you want to use headphones or get some AirPods with this device. The Bluetooth connections are very fast, and I could say that while this doesn't have no high quality DACs, anything like that inside of the phone, the audio will not disappoint overall for the 8 Plus. So I wouldn't be too concerned. It's a pretty good setup here for audio, just not the best, not the crispiest sound at the high ends, maybe not even the best at the low ends. But what I will say is that you're not gonna be disappointed, especially considering that this phone's gonna run you, what, 300, 400 bucks now, third party. Okay guys, so I'm gonna talk here about battery life now with the iPhone 8 Plus. It's been pretty good. It hasn't been something that I would be concerned about, especially if you have a decent battery capacity on here. I typically ran the low power mode when using this device, and that easily got me through the day. As a matter of fact, this was one of the better phones that I've ever used when it comes to iPhone battery life, and I was even more impressed by the XR, but I feel like this is one of the first iPhones to start that trend of going back to having great battery life on a phone. So pretty happy with that, and I think you will be too. If you're looking for actual screen on time numbers, I get around 6 to 7 hours of screen on time with the 8 Plus, and as with all iPhones, exceptional standby time. I'm doing a YouTube video right now. All right, bye. Yeah, so that was a fake call, but the iPhone 8 Plus has some excellent phone call quality. As a matter of fact, I found that I had not many drop calls with this phone, and I had drop calls with the iPhone XR, the iPhone 11, which is a little bit strange because an older phone around the same price point, I was getting better reception. So I'm like, what is this with the iPhone XR and the 11 getting these drop calls once in a while? I know not everybody has the same situation or scenario, but what I can say is I'm just not afraid to recommend you this phone when it comes to the reception and phone call quality. It isn't bad. I still find Samsung phones to have a little bit better cell reception and LTE performance, but this one is not disappointing. So I could see why a lot of people are still liking their iPhone 8 Plus. All right, guys, so that's pretty much gonna wrap it up here. Should you buy iPhone 8 Plus in 2020? You can see that I'm pretty positive about this phone as a whole, because the phone was well built. It has a good processor. It also has good hardware. It's just not that modern looking compared to the newer phones. So if you could snag one on a deal and you're looking for a cheap big iPhone, you're gonna be happy with the 8 Plus for sure. But if you have your eyes set on the new phones, you constantly read about tech, you see the new ones, you've played with them, This is just not recommended if you're that person. But if you're willing to deal with those other things I said, you're going to be happy with the 8 Plus now in 2020, especially at a good price. Watch that battery capacity, make sure it's not depleted too much. If you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, drop them down below in the comment section of this video. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next episode, and peace. Yeah. I'm making a video right now. I gotta let you go. Yeah, that was a fake call. But anyway, the iPhone 8 Plus.